to... Now, Hunt Palmer. Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio downtown in the capital city on a Monday. Hope your week's off to a good start. Hopefully you got a few more bucks in your pocket after last night. Hopefully not hungover and not productive at work. Good things to start this week because we got baseball at the end of it. Leah Vann's going to be with us in hour number 2. She covers the baseball team for the Advocates, so we'll chat with Leah about some of the things that she's working on for their season preview edition that's going to drop later this week. Casey Gaines and Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Thanks for making us a part of your day. Unless you lost a lot of basketball games over the weekend. There were some SEC hoops we want to talk about. There will be baseball in the second hour, but we will, of course, start with the Super Bowl. A little bit of a different watching experience for me last night. Went to a friend's house. There's 6 kids. They're running everywhere. Mine's crawling all over the place. You got a couple of 3-year-olds. We got a 3-week-old that's there. There's kids everywhere. You got to be on watch duty. We had TVs going in multiple rooms, so as you follow the child that's crawling and make sure they don't put some small toy in their mouth, you can see the game there and there. But I didn't get to really see the commercials like I wanted to. We went home at halftime, and I was able to lock in for the second half. But interesting watching situation for the first half with children running all over the place. At one point, one of the children was completely nude, running around trying to get into a swimming pool in the backyard. It's 40 degrees outside. Let's not do that. Lots going on at the Williams house last night, but we had a good time, and the game was awesome. What a great Super Bowl. I know that some people are bummed about the holding call. We'll get to that here in a second, but it was just a great game. What I said entering the game last week was that you had, I believe, the 2 best teams in the league. And I said very outwardly before the AFC Championship game that I thought the Bengals were better than the Chiefs. I thought they would win the game. I thought that they had their number and that they were a better football team at that point in the calendar. And that was wrong because the Bengals could not block the Chiefs, and the Chiefs very easily blocked the Bengals. The question would be, could they block the Eagles? And the answer was that they could. Look, the game started out on fire. Both teams go right down the field and get a touchdown. We're 7-7, and the teams are firing all cylinders. But the Eagles really controlled the rest of the first half after that. You realize at halftime it's 24-14 Eagles, and the Eagles got a scoop and score. No, sorry, the Chiefs got a scoop and score. That's what I meant. It was 24-14 Eagles, and the Chiefs got a scoop and score. So that's just a gift touchdown that Hirsch has dropped the ball. So even with that, it was a 10-point Eagles lead. You're thinking, man, they've really got this thing in a stranglehold. But what the Chiefs did after halftime was exceptional and furthering the legacies of those involved with this Chiefs franchise. Mahomes, Reed, I think Bieniemy to a certain extent for sure as well. They scored touchdowns on their first 3 second-half possessions. They went 10 plays, 75 yards. Then they went 9 plays, 75 yards. And then Tony sets them up inside the 5 after the punt return, and they go 5 yards for a touchdown drive on that one. Mahomes in the second half, basically on one leg, re-injured that ankle at the end of the first half. In the second half, he goes 13 out of 15, 93 yards, 2 scores, plus the big 26-yard run in the fourth quarter to set up the win. The Eagles and their hellacious pass rush, best in the NFL, 3rd best all-time statistically. They had 70 sacks during the regular season. And the Chiefs' offensive line stonewalled them. Not a single sack the entire game. That's how Tampa got after the Chiefs. They went nuts up front. The Chiefs couldn't block them. So the Chiefs organization went, well, we got to fix that. We got a generational player here taking snaps. If he's on his back the whole game, we're not going to win very much. Invest in the offensive line. They did, and it came to fruition last night. No sacks against that Eagles pass rush. Crazy. And as I mentioned there, the legacy-defining things that were going on last night, Andy Reid is going to the Hall of Fame anyway. And Eric Bieniemy has been a great offensive coordinator for that organization. I don't know how much you want to split that pie up between Reed and Bieniemy, who's calling plays, who's diagnosing things, who's running practices, who's dealing with Mahomes. I don't know exactly how that relationship works. I don't know how any of them work, quite honestly. But all three of them deserve a ton of credit. And the 2 touchdowns that Reed and Bieniemy schemed up, and if you read The Athletic, apparently Bieniemy was watching tape on the Eagles' defense and saw that jet sweep action that caused miscommunications, that the guy will be wide open. They went to it twice, and it schemed open wide open touchdowns twice. And for me, the novice football viewer who doesn't understand game plans or schemes, and I can't read coverages and diagnose that kind of stuff, and I don't know whose assignment is what, I'm fascinated watching plays like that happen. I'm more fascinated when a scheme creates that than I am when an athlete makes an unbelievable play. I'd rather watch that where they went to very clearly into motion, into the stack of the receivers. They knew that the Eagles had to try to pass that off, and that more often than not, 2 guys may go one way and one guy and nobody will go the other way. And they did it twice in the red zone for walk-in touchdowns. That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. And it comes down to the last drive, and you see the holding call. And I watched some ESPN this morning. I've looked at Twitter here and there about what people are saying. I think the majority of people are suggesting, yeah, that's a hold. You got to make the call. There's a loud portion of people that say that's not a hold. You can't make that call. Dan Orlovsky was fighting off everybody this morning on ESPN's Get Up. He was fighting off Foxworth. He was fighting off Bart Scott. He was fighting off Greenberg. He's fighting off everybody. On Twitter, he's fighting with Marcus Spears, saying you cannot make that call. There had been one holding call the entire game. That kind of hand-to-hand contact happens on every play. You can't make the call. I'm of the camp, like, I'm watching it, and I see the replay, and I wish they didn't call it because it would create more drama. But it's a holding. He grabbed his jersey. They changed directions, and in the change of direction, starting to go the other way, the DB grabbed his jersey and then told you after the game, yeah, I grabbed his jersey. And most DB coaches will coach you to do that, to make sure you stay in contact. Little grab, not going to be the end of the world. And sometimes they'll miss it. But it's a hold. You got to make the call. Now, I want to give a shout-out to the Chiefs ball carrier who did not go into the end zone or out of bounds late in the game. The Eagles decided, okay, you're in chip shot field goal range. We're not going to get the ball back. We've got to let you score. And they did it they purposely tried to let him score. It was McKinnon, now that I look it up. He ran for 9 yards down to the 2. He takes a slide. Do you know how many people in a tied Super Bowl late in the fourth quarter that turn that corner and have a chance to score the game-winning touchdown with 1:54 left would have scored? I think it's the majority of ball carriers in the NFL. I really do. I think the majority of ball carriers in the NFL take that into the end zone. You take that into the end zone, you put losing squarely on the table. You give Jalen Hurts the ball. He's playing awesome. The Eagles' offense is great, one of the best in the sport, and they may go down there and score. They might go for 2. You might lose in regulation. Now, you might not, but you might. And most people will go in for a touchdown there. And McKinnon had the awareness to see that the Eagles weren't going to tackle him, to go down, let them take a couple of knees, and kick a chip shot to win it. That play I have not seen discussed that much on the internet, on ESPN. Haven't heard it on this station as much. That was awesome. That kind of awareness I love, because far too often there's no awareness. And that kind of stuff drives me nuts. But for McKinnon to turn that corner and take a slide was fantastic football. Fantastic football. I loved it. And the Chiefs get that second Super Bowl in this era, and they're starting to kind of ascend to the levels of the legendary teams in the sport. I think we'll talk about it at the end of the show. I think they need another one, but it's tough to see him going anywhere. Reed's an incredible coach, has been for 2 decades. Mahomes is phenomenal, and he was just unbelievable in the second half last night. And if you're an Eagles fan today, you wake up going, man, we had a 10-point lead at halftime of the Super Bowl and couldn't get it done. Meanwhile, the Phillies lost in the World Series. I saw Hester try to throw the MLS in there. I'm not sure that one stings quite as bad to the good people of Philly. Maybe it does. Maybe they're huge soccer fans in Philly. But the World Series and the Super Bowl, to lose them both in an 8-month span is tough. It's very, very tough. But I think Jalen Hurts last night and this season has proved he's a dude. And he'll be there to be contended with for a long time. You got to continue to put guys around him, and then you've got to pay him and everything that goes into having a young quarterback. But he was great all year. Probably would have been the league MVP if he stays healthy, and acquitted himself incredibly well last night. So I wanted to kind of talk about the game as an overview. I've just got, for the next segment, I've got all my notes from the game, just like stats that people were tweeting out that are noteworthy, some thoughts on some ancillary things around the game, like the halftime show, commercials. I'm going to kind of empty the notebook in the next segment. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Bayou Ford. Check out that inventory, BayouFord.com. Tell you every day to go over to BayouFord.com. If you don't love what you're driving around in right now and looking to get into something new, just check out the inventory at BayouFord.com. They've got pre-owned, they've got your new, and they also have a great buyback program. They'll buy your vehicle from you. That'll give you a great head start into getting into a brand new vehicle, whether it's a Mustang, maybe it's an F-150, the Explorer. I tell you about my Explorer all the time. It drove me all around the Southeast in college, and I got a new one now. Got plenty of room for the car seat, got plenty of room for the golf clubs. If you need a little bit more room than that, they got the Expedition as well. Maybe you're a Bronco person. Check them out at BayouFord.com. The inventory is changing daily. As cars come in, as they move out, they'll update it, and you can see exactly what they've got on the lot. If they don't have what you want, they'll customize the vehicle for you, have it turned around in 60 to 90 days. BayouFord.com is the website. Bayou Ford, what they're going to do right by you.
In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
I had had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne. Plus,
Musso, join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping Super Bowl 57, kicking off game week for LSU baseball. It's Monday's AFR 3 to 6. 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, I want to empty the notebook here, then we'll get to my little prop bets that I threw at you on Friday, see how those went. Here's just emptying the notebook bullet points. The grass sucked. They got this sod father, who by the way is really old now, so I don't want to pick on him. He's done the sod for every Super Bowl ever. This is a failing grade last night. We got the grass that comes in and out of the stadium on the big sheet, and they got the people. They couldn't stand up. I got the Eagles putting new cleats on every 5 minutes. This is unacceptable. We got to be able to figure out the grass at the Super Bowl. Grass. Make it work. Didn't like that. Interesting note that I saw on Twitter, 200 plus private jets took off from Phoenix after the Super Bowl was over. 200 plus. That's a lot of private aviation flying all over the place. As far as commercials go, the Tubi commercial got the highest acclaim. It did trick my wife. We don't even use the smart function on our living room TV, and she fell for it as if something was happening. Not her best effort there, but it was really good. If you missed it, it was the one where they came back to Burkhalter and Olsen, and then they ended up pulling up the smart function and going to find some TV show to watch instead of the Super Bowl. It tricked my wife. That was impressive. So that was very, very good. I personally, because just like of a nostalgia thing, really liked the Breaking Bad commercial for those chips. They had Walter White and Jesse Pinkman in the trailer making the chips, and they were excited about it. And then they come outside to sell them to Tuco Salamanca, and he's screaming that was good stuff. I enjoyed that commercial very, very much. But as I said at the beginning, like I can't even tell you what the other commercials were because we were chasing kids around the entire first half. So I did a poor job of analyzing the commercials. I will tell you that speaking of Kevin Burkhalter and Greg Olsen, I thought they were fantastic. That's probably the lowest level in terms of name recognition that we've had calling a Super Bowl. It's always Tirico and always, Joe Buck. And I mean, I think all those people do great jobs too, but I thought Burkhalter and Olsen were awesome. I think Olsen interjects at the right time. I think his inflection's good. I think he does a great job of diagnosing plays for people like me. I thought Burkhalter and Olsen did a very, very good job. I thought in that same light, Terry Bradshaw basically roasting Andy Reid for being quote-unquote old on the podium after the game was a bit much. Terry, you crazy old man. Stop telling the guy he's old. He just won the Super Bowl. Leave him alone. I thought that was a lot. Patrick Mahomes wins Super Bowl MVP and a Super Bowl, obviously, and the MVP of the regular season. There's only 3 quarterbacks that have ever done all 3 of those things in their career. Kurt Warner, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Patrick Mahomes did it in 1 year. That's a pretty good run for him. And then this take, which I'm gonna get crushed for this. I'm well aware I'm gonna get crushed. Halftime just didn't do it for me. I love Rihanna. T-Bob pointed this out, and it was the exact same feeling that I had watching it. Her songs are basically the soundtrack of my college bar career. Rihanna was probably playing 40% of the time I was in college bars. And I love all those songs. I think she's fantastic. But when I think Rihanna, I think like awesome dancer and singing. And I guess this was some sort of pregnancy like announcement thing. That's what it's being spun as in the news. Like no one really knew she was pregnant, and she comes out and this is like her announcement. But like it was a sing-along, basically. And I want like my Super Bowl halftime show to be like pyrotechnics and crazy dance moves. Like Shakira and J-Lo just were incredible a couple of years ago. And I got, like, it was a cool thing putting her on the flying stage. Like, that was cool in the way that I'm talking about. But, like, she basically stood still the whole time. I think in that way she may be a victim of her own, like, awesomeness because I expect awesome dancing to go with her great music. But it was just a little bit boring for me. I liked singing along to the songs. I liked the songs. And I was sitting there with my wife and her best friend, and they loved the halftime show. They thought it was phenomenal. I expect a little bit more from Rihanna, but I understand being pregnant, you can't do exactly the way that you always do things. It's just a little bit of a miss for me because of that. Am I just going to get crushed for this?
I liked it. I didn't think it was the best one I've ever seen, but
I like the songs. I like her.
I enjoyed it.
That performance from her is below her usual excellence, and that was.
But I got to be honest. You know, I agree with you that that's the music that I grew up on. It's always been about the music for me. I got crushed on this last year. I hated last year's Super Bowl halftime performance.
What was it?
It was like 7 different people. It was like
Snoop
Dogg,
Dr.
Dre,
Eminem.
That
was a lot.
It was too many people.
Yeah.
Like everybody was like, "Oh well, I wanted her to come out and have a surprise." I agree, but at the same time, too many people is like last year. I thought it was too many.
It doesn't matter. It's the halftime show. I almost missed it because I jumped in, went and took a shower, but I did catch the whole thing. It missed a little bit for me. Okay, so let's go to my prop bets from Friday. I know y'all love to hammer me when everything goes awry, so let's see how we did. Casey, let's play the first prop bet from Friday.
So I'll take A.J. Brown to have 25-plus receiving yards in both halves, plus 130, $20 to win $26.
That one was close. We had the 45-yarder in the first half, so we got home there. We needed 25 yards in the second half. We got 22. So that is a miss with A.J. Brown by 3 yards in the second half. So we're 0 for 1.
I'll throw $10 at both teams to score a touchdown on the first drive.
$10 at both teams to score a touchdown on the first drive, huh? Cashed it for $120. That was plus 1,200. Both teams went down and got touchdowns. I liked it. The stat that I gave was that Philly had the ball to start a game 6 times this year, and they had 5 touchdowns and a field goal. And then the other side, you had Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Eric Bieniemy with 2 weeks to prepare. Both teams did go down and get a touchdown on their opening drive, so that was a winner. What's next?
I like Jake Elliott over 7.5 kicking points at plus 104.
We got home with that one. Philly was scoring, and Jake Elliott did go over the 7.5. That was plus 104, so that was $20 to win 2080, and that is a winner. So I'm now 2-1 on the picks. What's next?
So I love Jalen Hurts to score the first points of the Super Bowl. I would put $20 down on that to win 160. I like that one a lot.
Love to see it. Looked like we had a touchdown from someone else. Let's go ahead and review that. Got the ball at the 1-inch line. We know what's coming. Philly puts 900 people behind Jalen Hurts. Quarterback sneaks it in. Cashed it plus 800 on that one. $20 to win 160. That is 3-1 so far. What was my final bet?
I love over 13.5 yards for Isaiah Pacheco's longest run. Maybe all it takes is him to get the corner one time.
First drive, he hit over the 13.5-yard run. Pacheco off left tackle, that cashed. It was minus 108, so your odds weren't awesome. It was $30 down to win $27.78. But if you took the $100 that I played with in my head there and you put it down on those 4 bets, I went 4-1. You would have netted $328.58 in the positive there on my parlays. The faders are furious at my success in Super Bowl gambling. Absolutely furious. They don't know what they're going to do with themselves. I'm talking to you people in the Bayou Ford chat that are just saying fade hunt, fade hunt, fade hunt. Stephen Miller and the gang. How about that? 4 out of 5 on Super Bowl props. Now, was that the exact action that I put down in my FanDuel Sportsbook app last night? It was not. I couldn't find the Pacheco bet. I was like frantically trying to figure out at the end. I couldn't get the Pacheco bet in. They had on FanDuel last night boosted both teams to score a touchdown and kick a field goal in the game. You did need the last Chiefs field goal to get home with that, but it did hit. I did have the Jalen Hurts one in real life. I did have the Jake Elliott one in real life. So I did actually win a few dollars. And I want to say, as someone who doesn't really gamble all that much, they launched the sportsbooks legal in Louisiana last football season, basically, and we had it in time for the Super Bowl. So I did bet $100 on the Super Bowl last year. I did bet $100 on the Super Bowl yesterday. And I won. I won like $180. Whatever, that isn't, who cares? But it didn't enhance the viewing experience for me, the game watching experience for me. It's not something that I like desperately want to get back in and do. I think I'll probably bet on the Super Bowl again next year because there's a million props and you're going to watch the game. And I, generally speaking, don't have a dog in the hunt. If the Saints or the Bengals were playing, maybe I would feel a little bit differently. But I don't have that itch to, you got to get back and get another bet down. Like, I'm watching the game trying to make sure Jalen Hurts scores the first touchdown. I'm counting Jake Elliott's kicking points for the Eagles. And I think it enhanced my wife's viewing of the game because she doesn't care who wins or loses and isn't a huge football fan. But to know that there was a few dollars on the line in her checking account, I think perked her ears up, and certainly winning was a good thing. But it just didn't – I don't love it. I think I would just rather watch the game. I get that maybe some people's feelings on fantasy football. Like, I'm not going to play fantasy football because I don't feel like watching for somebody to make a catch or score a touchdown here and there. And I do play fantasy football, and that I feel like it does enhance my Sundays. I'm getting notifications that this person just scored or whatever. And plus, it's friendly competition between friends. But I didn't feel that way with gambling on the Super Bowl. I think I'll bet on the Super Bowl again next year, and it might be the next time I turn around and bet. But for those that want to do it, I'm all about it. Edward O. Nuss Bus Driver says, Hunt, you lost the game. That's irrelevant. I picked the Eagles on Friday. We know that. We don't have to talk about it. We're celebrating victories here, not jumping on failures that tend to happen far more frequently than the successes. When the success comes around, you got to talk about it. So, Dustin Blanchard, a dead clock is right twice a day, Hunt. Settle down. Well, come on. That's a 4-1 prop bet giveaway from Friday at Rouse's. We're feeling good about that. That was good. All right, Citizens Bank poll question of the day. This is very important. I need all of your help. I literally just got a text from my wife about 30 minutes ago that said, do not buy me anything for Valentine's Day. No flowers, no gifts. Don't do it. Explicitly written out in text form, don't do that. So the Citizens Bank poll question of the day is, men, if a woman tells you no gifts for Valentine's Day, do you still need to make that purchase? Yes or no? Taylor Sharp, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, absolutely, 100% yes. I'm actually in the same boat because we celebrated it on Saturday. Took her out to eat and everything, and then last night we're watching the Super Bowl. She's like, "Oh yeah, you don't have to give me anything on Tuesday." I'm like, "There's no way that's true." So I'm gonna go ahead and make a little something happen. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but we're gonna figure something out.
Just got a text, handwritten note, boom, from a buddy. Look, we'll see what I decide to do. I did, when she said that, I jumped back in text form and said, so do I go to Pluckers? Because I've gone to Pluckers every Tuesday for 10 years straight reading trivia questions. Not quite 10 years, but do I do that? And she said, LOL, yes. So I guess I'm hosting sports trivia at Pluckers tomorrow. This could be a test. It could be miserably failed. We'll see. We may just take the results of the poll and abide by them. Maybe I'm smarter than that. We'll see. But I'm curious to see what the poll yields in terms of Valentine's Day gifts. By the way, gentlemen, if you're driving around, maybe ladies too, but gentlemen for sure, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. So if you need to make plans accordingly in terms of gift buying or dinner reservations or steaks buying or whatever you need to do, make that happen. That would be a good idea. When we come back, LSU basketball lost again on Saturday. I do have some thoughts on it. We'll get to them next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LWCC is Louisiana Loyal, elevating and celebrating champions of Louisiana every single month. We do it every day here on the Hunt Palmer Show. February's champion of Louisiana is Simone Malaz. Simone has dedicated her entire career to protecting Louisiana's coast and helping the state take a leading role in the world stage in environmental restoration. The state's coastal land loss crisis is not only a problem for Louisiana. The state's home to nearly 40% of the nation's wetlands and is responsible for the production of over 20% of all commercial fisheries landings by weight in the lower 48 states. It's a critically important working coast. It houses 2.5 million people, and Simone has dedicated her entire career to protecting the coast as the head of Restore or Retreat, the executive director of Restore or Retreat. That makes her a champion of Louisiana. If you know a champion of Louisiana, like Simone, whether it's a person, a nonprofit, or a business, let us know. Go to lwcc.com/champions and nominate them to be a champion of Louisiana so that we can tell their story. Simone Malaz is February's champion of Louisiana, presented by LWCC.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Electricity is all around us, and our families depend on it. Every day is sparked by the power of a cold drink or a warm meal, a movie night, and a comforting light at the end of a dark hallway. From sunrise to sunset, playtime to bedtime, our team is ready to take care of your electrical needs. Even in the case of an after-hours emergency, the light in your life shines brighter with Mr. Electric.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana.
For the Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons on Burbank, recapping a Super Bowl and looking forward to opening weekend for LSU baseball. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
LSU baseball starting up on Friday. Leah Vann's going to be with us in 45 minutes at 2:15 to talk a little bit of baseball. If you're looking for a baseball fix this week before the game starts, on Thursday of last week, Musso and I sat down for an hour and went through basically the entire roster. It is now posted on the 104.5 YouTube page. You can also find it pinned to the top of my Twitter profile. So if you want an hour of straight-up LSU baseball breakdown between me and Musso, you can go to my Twitter feed or the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel that is, of course, powered by Bayou Ford, and you can find it. It's a team breakdown that Musso and I had some fun doing for the second straight year. Speaking of fun, not a ton to be had on Saturday night in the PMAC. I didn't think I was going to be able to go to the basketball game on Saturday because we went down to New Orleans for some Mardi Gras festivities on Saturday. However, at about 2 o'clock, predictably, the skies opened up on St. Charles Avenue down in New Orleans, so we packed it up and headed on home. So I did go to the PMAC on Saturday, and a lot of people would say, why would you do that? That's torturing yourself. And I would say I was not tortured on Saturday night in the PMAC. I like going to watch them play, and this team I don't have huge expectations for, so it's not crushing if they get beat or blown out. I'm just there to enjoy watching some basketball, and maybe something good will happen. It did not on Saturday. Texas A&M absolutely bludgeoned LSU from the start. It's something how quickly this team can fall behind by 10 points. They were down 11 5 minutes into the game. At one point, you looked up and the score was 26-4, A&M all over LSU. And look, A&M is a lot better than LSU, obviously. But they played a great first half. They really did. They shot it great. They were I think 6 of 9 from 3 in the first half. Got to the free throw line, shot 53%. Meanwhile, you look at LSU and you look up in the first half and you've gone 6 of 23 from the floor, which is 26%. You've 3 of 14 from deep. Texas A&M had 1 turnover in the entire first half, and they just blitzed LSU right from the start. And once again, LSU came up with some fight and came up with a run, as they have in just about every game. But you can't start the run when you're down 19 points, because then you finish your run and you're down 11. And that's what LSU was. Now, they got it inside single fit digits, and they had the ball, but they couldn't chip any closer away. Here's what I will take from what LSU is doing right now. They are playing some of the younger players. Now, I know that Trey Hannibal is out, and there are minutes that are available, but Tyrell Ward is playing more. He played 30 minutes. And I'm conflicted a little bit on Tyrell Ward, and here's why. You know, he's a 5-star prospect that comes in. I was shocked when I went to the first LSU basketball game of the year and he wasn't getting off the bench. It's like, how is he suspended? Or, like, he's a 5-star. And he wasn't ready to play. And that was obvious. When he checked in, it manifested. And he still makes some mistakes. He catches the ball standing out of bounds more often than I've maybe seen out of a player. He oftentimes is out of position on defense, but it's never due to lack of effort. He's always giving a lot of effort. And he's 6'6", and he can shoot. He was 2 of 5 from 3. He did make 3 of his 4 free throws. He had a nice driving double clutch layup late in the game. He's got some tools, and now he's getting more playing time. And again, I don't know if it's because Hannibal's out or because they just want to see him. But I'm intrigued by Tyrell Ward. Because when I watch, I'm thinking, man, is he comfortable out there? Does he know where to be? And then you see a flash of, okay, that's why he's a 5-star. And I think a lot of that 5-star rating comes from if you just had an open gym and tossed him a ball and said, hey, go work out. You would see a 6'6" wing who can make shots, looks pretty good, making moves to the basket, and kind of he's very toolsy, as they would say of a baseball player. He's toolsy. But then you put 9 other guys out there, and I think at times he may get a little lost in the flow of the game. It's just my observation. But I think that's learnable over time. You can't learn 6'6". You can't learn some of the skills that he has. So as you're looking at building blocks, again, for this program, that may be one. And the other guy who's interesting to me in a way too is Sean Phillips. Because he's 7 feet tall and he plays like his hair's on fire. And again, he, like Ward, sometimes out of position, may get bullied a little bit by older players, just a freshman, figuring out how to play at this level. And he only played 8 minutes, but he grabbed a couple rebounds, blocked a shot. And you're just, for me, as a fan of the program, I'm just kind of looking at things that they may be able to build on. And so those two guys, I think, should play a little bit more. If Hannibal were healthy, I could then tell you that they were playing Tyrell Ward because they were looking at a building block. Because I think it's pretty obvious, at least to me, that if you had to win a basketball game tomorrow, had to win it, you would play Trey Hannibal probably some more minutes than Tyrell Ward. He's an older player. He's stronger. He's a little bit more confident where he needs to be. I think gives you a better chance to win tomorrow. But LSU is now in a position where winning tomorrow is of very little consequence, right? You go beat Georgia, okay, great. You got off the schneid, nice win. You lose to Georgia, whatever. You lost another game. You're not playing for seeding, not playing for net points, strength of schedule, strength of record, bracketology, none of that matters. And so if you're Matt, man, you can't just mail it in and just play freshmen and tell the seniors, yeah, thanks for showing up, but we gotta win next year. That's not exactly how it works. But I think there's value in getting some of these younger players some minutes. And it's not fun and it's not pleasant, and losing every game for 2 months sucks. There's no two ways about that. But you're trying to create something. And it's a long way away. So what can you do on a day-to-day basis to help create it? Playing Tyrell Ward a little bit more. 15 points for him. Did have a couple turnovers, but he had a steal, blocked a shot, 3 rebounds. I'm fascinated by him because he's not a slam dunk to be a great player, but he has progressed from where he was in November. So we'll see. But you lose the ball game 74-62. Just another tough one offensively. You shoot 42%. In the second half, I'll say LSU was good offensively. They shot 53% from the floor, 7 of 15 from 3, 7 turnovers, but 4 of them were by Jalen Reed, who tries to dribble too much. I mean, he was very capable ball handler at the high school level, but at his size, he's dribbling too much at this level. So if you take those 4 away and you go to your primary ball handlers, you just had 1 turnover from Juice Hill and 1 from Tyrell Ward, and then 1 from Cam Hayes. But you shot a high percentage. You got some good looks at 3. Miller made 3 of them. And you scored 45 points in the second half. Now, you could say that it's garbage time points, and I can't disprove that. I just feel like A&M plays pretty hard. If there's one thing in A&M's DNA, it's they're going to play hard. And so I don't think that LSU just beat up on a team that had taken its foot completely off the gas. Again, you could argue that. I'd have a hard time disproving it, but just the way I feel about A&M. The Tigers lose again, 74-62, back in action in Athens coming up tomorrow night. There's another basketball game that had featured LSU this weekend. That was yesterday. I'll give you my thoughts on that coming up next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community. We are
the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Bayou Ford has $4,000 off MSRP plus $1,000 Ford credit cash on new 22 Ford F-150 XLT trucks. That's $5,000 off plus 0% financing. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Moon Griffon is back. The voice of Louisiana politics makes his return to Baton Rouge. Catch the Moon Griffon Show weekdays from 9 to 11 a.m. on Talk 107.3.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together,
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Tuesday edition of Handy Time. Former LSU baseball assistant Dan Canaveri is with us as we're just a few days away from the season opener, and Dwayne Colucci recaps the Super Bowl from Las Vegas. Handy Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I gotta say this. Did not love the LSU Twitter response to the basketball game yesterday, the women's game yesterday. Like 70% of the tweets in the second half complained about officiating. It's not a good look. They got whipped yesterday. That is what it is. I don't know that it was the officials' fault that LSU came out and was down 18-2. That's just a better team at home, fired up to play, taking it to you. And they did. And it was just kind of a what could go wrong type deal. You get down 18-2. Reese gets 2 fouls really quickly. He's got to sit down. And you were just up against it big time. And it's the same thing I was talking about to a lesser extent with the men. You get behind so big that after you go on your run, you're still behind. And they were still behind big time. Alexis Morris did everything she could to try to keep LSU in it. She had 23 points in the game. She shot 29 times. So that's a lot of shots for Alexis. But South Carolina is just almost unguardable in college basketball because they've got 2 6'6" or taller players who can go out there and score. And that's just almost impossible to neutralize in the women's game. So when Boston's out there, and then you've also got Camila Cardoso, who went for 18 and 13 off the bench. Those two girls down there, LSU just doesn't have the size to combat it. And you can't really double because the other one's right there. And basically, South Carolina shot a bunch of layups in the second half. So it's a recruiting thing. Kim's got to continue to recruit. We know that. You're building. And that's the standard, as Kim said yesterday in the press conference, of South Carolina and everybody else. They won the title last year. They're undefeated this year. They're the heavy favorite to win it again this year. And with those two girls, you just couldn't deal with it. Now, you put that game on a neutral floor, or you put that game in the PMAC, and you keep Angel Reese on the floor a little bit more than she was able to play yesterday, I think LSU has a chance to stick in it. But it was hard watching that game for me to look at it and suggest that LSU has a realistic shot at beating South Carolina. I wouldn't suggest they can't. You make jump shots in any basketball game, you can win. But it's just relentless with the size that South Carolina's got, and it's a recruiting thing. Kim got the number 1 class in the country coming in, and she'll get it there. But that's just a tough deal to go into that environment when you're going to catch the best team in the country's best shot. And I relate it to this. For the better part of 10 years, LSU was circled in huge red ink on Alabama football schedule. Why? Well, because CBS gets one primetime game a year. They took it. Game day, usually there. Bama, where do they put their bye? Every year, right in front of LSU. You're getting all their attention because everyone knows how big a deal it is. And LSU was playing that role with the best program in the country in women's basketball. Super Bowl Sunday, only 2 undefeated teams left, national TV on ESPN. Here we go. You were going to get everything South Carolina had, and that's how you come up with 18-2. That's how you come up with the score at the end of the third quarter being, 64-48 or something? Yeah, 64-48. It's just that was going to be a tall mountain to climb. And I said on Friday, it's a measuring stick. Kind of see where you are. Well, now you know. You're not necessarily right there on that level. Still, every bit of reason for optimism about this team and this program, but I think you can realistically look at it and go, man, it's a long shot for us to beat South Carolina with this team and that team. But good for them. It's good for this program to experience environments like that because that's where this thing's headed. If you watch the baseball video that me and Musso put out at the end, we talk about our concerns for LSU's baseball team, and one of mine is that these guys have never played in a regional at the Bucks, never played in a super at the Bucks, never played in Omaha. These things can be shocks to the system the first time you see them. And LSU's women's program has not been in position to play in games this big for a long time. Now it's time. You had Tennessee coming here. That was a big deal. You go to South Carolina. That's a big deal. Now you've kind of seen it. Maybe you're ready a little bit more for the NCAA tournament when that day comes. But yesterday, bummer for LSU women's basketball as they get beat by South Carolina, who is the class of women's college basketball at the moment. That'll do it for hour number 1 here on a Monday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. If you missed any of it, catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand page. Every show right there on the on-demand page. All our sound archived there daily. You can also catch it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, wherever you may get your podcasts. You can find the Hunt Palmer Show. We ask that you like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. And then you can also find us on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube stream where those folks are hanging out in the Bayou Ford chat. Throw us a like if you would. Subscribe to the channel if you would. Open up with my thoughts on the Super Bowl, the actual game. In segment 2, kind of cleared out the notebook with some stats, thoughts on halftime, commercials, all that jazz. LSU A&M reaction from Saturday in the PMAC and women's basketball between LSU and South Carolina at 1:45. So go back and check all of that out. Also, through our Citizens Bank poll question of the day, if I need to be buying Valentine's stuff for tomorrow because my wife explicitly told me not to do that, is this a trap? Help me out. Go to @1045 ESPN on Twitter and let me know what you think about all of that. Hour number 2 is coming at you. We got SEC hoops to talk about. Leah Vann from The Advocate's going to come on and talk about the baseball team at 2:15. We are 4 days away from first pitch out at the box. Cannot wait. A little bit more baseball to get to, and then we'll play some Take It or Leave It to finish things out. Hope your Monday is starting your work week off the right way. We're going to have a little bit of Sports Center here. Come back with us on the other side. You're listening to the Capital City's leader in sports talk, 104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $8,500 off new 2022 Ram 1500s. New 2022 Ram 1500 trucks on our lot now with $8,500 off MSRP. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right. Bayou.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
The best kept secret in town is out. Discover Tallulah at the Renaissance Hotel on Bluebonnet.
All right, let's say ah.
Hmm.
Where'd my spotlight go? Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The city of Kansas City is busy planning another Super Bowl championship parade. The parade to honor quarterback Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs for their second Lombardi Trophy in 4 seasons set for Wednesday. The MVP of Super Bowl 57, just the third quarterback to win multiple Super Bowl MVPs and multiple Super Bowls. And even though he's just 27, Mahomes already among the 3 best QBs of all time, in the opinion of ESPN's Dan Orlovsky.
So the guy's gone to 5 straight Pro Bowls. He's won 5 straight division titles. He's got 5 straight 12 or more win seasons. He's gone to 5 straight conference championship games. He's got 2 Super Bowl championships, 2 MVPs, and 2 Super Bowl MVPs. That's the greatest start to a career ever.
Patrick Mahomes is scheduled to join Canty and Carlin at 6:20 Eastern. Major League Baseball's regular season extra inning, extra runner rule is here to stay. Moving forward, a runner will be placed on second base to start the 10th inning and in every inning after until a winner's determined. For the first time in 2 decades, Alabama, #1 in the Associated Press men's college basketball poll.
We all know the game isn't over till it's over. So next time you need parts for your car, don't call it quits. Go to eBay Motors. They have 122 million parts to take your car into overtime. Get the right parts at the right prices. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride.
Now, Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios. This is Hunt Palmer.
Hour number 2 here on a Monday. People think this should be a holiday. We talked about that on Friday. Monday after the Super Bowl should be a holiday. Just get up and go to work. We can get this thing done. I realize if you're in KC or Philly, you might not be super productive this morning. Maybe you need to take a personal day. But we can make it work on a Sunday after the Super Bowl. Had some SEC hoops on Saturday. Some pretty impressive results. One shocking play to end a game if you weren't paying attention. Alabama and Auburn played. I picked Auburn to win on Friday. Thought they would be able to get it done. They were not. It was a really good basketball game. It was tied at the half, and Alabama in Auburn Arena just kind of flexed its muscles and got it done by 8 points inside Auburn Arena, which was a really good win for them. It's looking like, look, they got to play Tennessee still, but an unbeaten conference mark is not out of the question for this Alabama team, which is really, really impressive. They win on the road at Auburn on a game where Brandon Miller goes 0 of 7 from 3. That's the depth that Alabama can hit you with, because you expect Brandon Miller to go for 25 points and hit 6 threes and all this stuff, but he only scored 13. 5 of 12 from the floor. But they had other guys pick him up. And quite frankly, I've never heard of Rylan Griffin, who's a freshman guard for them, who came off the bench and hit 5 threes. So that's what you're working with in Tuscaloosa. They've just got a lot of depth, and they're very, very good. The upset of the day was absolutely Missouri at Tennessee. If you did not see this game, I watched a lot of it. Missouri was bombing in threes from everywhere in this game. They were 11 of 20 at the half, and that's against a Tennessee defense that's crushing everyone, just breaking teams. But Missouri just got hot, and that's relatable back to LSU. And you're going to laugh. Well, she's a terrible shooting team. What do you mean? Because Coach Gates has energized that program because they've got great shooters. And it's not necessarily the way you would build a team to win the NCAA tournament, counting on having 6 great shooting games in a row. That's not going to happen. But it is a recipe to excite people and on a given day, shock somebody. And I don't think anybody, after Tennessee had lost last Wednesday to Vanderbilt on a buzzer beater and was probably not in a very good mood coming home to the Tommy Bowl, you think Missouri's going to get worked here. And they just started hitting threes. Ended up shooting 54% from the game from three. And the last one, the most important one. Because if you missed it, Missouri threw in a buzzer beater on the run to win by a point over Tennessee. Second game in a row that Tennessee has gone to the foul line up to under 10 seconds to go, and they've lost both in regulation. Santiago Vescovi had a 1-and-1 in Nashville against Vanderbilt. He missed it. Vanderbilt called timeout, came down, hit a three to win it. In this game, Vescovi goes to the line. He misses again, but he had a second shot. However, Tennessee gets called for a lane violation, so Missouri gets the ball, and they're able to throw up a heave at the end, count it, 3-ball, winner. And for Tennessee to have a week that involved a road trip to Vanderbilt and then a home game against Missouri, that's about as easy as you're going to find on their schedule. They lose them both. So now you're not feeling very good because you've lost 3 of 4 if you're Tennessee. You're a potential 1 seed. Now you've lost 3 out of 4. So what do we have to get well on? Oh, we got Bama coming in on Wednesday. Then we're at Rupp. Then we're at Texas A&M. That's fun. Not a great time to drop a couple of games when you got that gauntlet coming up. And looks like the Vols are going to hit a little bit of a skid here. Wasn't the offense that got them this time. The offense has been their bugaboo. They scored 85 points. They just gave up 86. Kentucky's leaking oil. Anybody catch this? They went to Stegman and got beat by Georgia. Georgia, who was 4-7 in the league. Right now, if they had a selection show, Kentucky's not in. 16-9, 7-5 in the league. Yes, very good win in Knoxville. Outside of that, the resume is bare. You cannot go to Stegman and lose that game. And I'm just telling you that this stuff doesn't go over very well over there. That's like Bama's football fan base. It's like our baseball fan base. There's an expectation of excellence. And if you've proven in the past that you could do it, you may get a mulligan here or there. You don't get 5 in a row. And that's what Kentucky's dealing with right now. In the not-so-distant rearview mirror is the most embarrassing tournament loss in history to St. Peter's, the worst season in program history, and you might not make the tournament. This class that Cal's got coming in is awesome. I think it's 4 of the top 10 or 12 players in the country. But this dog will not hunt. 68 points on the road, losing to Georgia, who's not very good. Ugly, ugly times in Lexington. South Carolina gets a win. That leaves LSU in the cellar. South Carolina went to Oxford and beat Ole Miss 64-61. So now both of those teams are 2-10. LSU, of course, is 1-11. Vanderbilt goes to the Swamp and wins. They're coming along. 88 points for Stackhouse's team down in Gainesville. Liam Robbins goes for 32-10. It's just kind of been up and down for Florida. The Vanderbilt now scrapping and clawing, gets to 6-6 in the league. Got a chance to finish over 500. It's going to be difficult. But if you can find a way to get 4 more wins, you could do it. They've got South Carolina coming up. They got LSU coming up. They got a home game with Mississippi State, home game with Florida. It can be done. It'll be tough, but it can be done. And that's kind of the trajectory that they hoped they would be on. And last one, tough loss for Arkansas. I'm curious if you were an Arkansas fan. I didn't have a chance to pay attention to this on Twitter or podcast or anything, but Arkansas got Nick Smith Jr. back on Saturday. He's a projected top 5 pick in the draft. They've been without him for over 2 months. What would it look like? Oh, it didn't look good. Mississippi State goes up there and wins. Mississippi State is playing good basketball right now. They were 1-7 in the league. They have ripped off 5 in a row. Now, it's not murder's row. South Carolina, Missouri, LSU. They go win at Arkansas, throw TCU in there, which is a nice win. But impressive stuff for Chris Jans' team. To go to Bud Walton and win is a really, really nice win for Mississippi State. And Arkansas continues to leak oil. If you would have told me entering this year that there was a real chance that Kentucky and Arkansas didn't make the NCAA tournament, I would have thought you were nuts. Kentucky brings back the National Player of the Year, 2 very high-profile recruits, Conference Player of the Year at a mid-major, SEC 2-time assist leader. That's a pretty solid nucleus for Kentucky. They may not make the tournament. And Arkansas's got lottery picks littered throughout that team, and they're in trouble. It's just 6-6 in SEC play. And for Musselman's team, you thought maybe they had turned a corner. They had won 5-6, and you lose a home game. Now you got to go to College Station coming up on Wednesday, and that's no picnic. And I've told you a million times, if you've listened, what Arkansas's end of SEC play is, and it's a nightmare. So they better make some hay in their next 3, because at Alabama, at Tennessee, and then home game with Kentucky is no small feat. Bad loss for Arkansas against Mississippi State at home. We shall see. That's your look at the Southeastern Conference in basketball. We'll preview some games, including LSU, coming up tomorrow. What's the menu look like tomorrow for SEC play? Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Missouri, Auburn, and LSU, Georgia. Not exactly a blockbuster list of games in SEC play. We don't have to talk much basketball here moving forward because we got something coming here on Friday. LSU baseball will start things up on Friday. Leah Vann covers the baseball team for The Advocate, is putting together their preview issue right now. We'll talk with her next on the Hunt Palmer Show.
Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
One Bath and Closets, onebathandclosets.com. Maybe you're scrambling for a Valentine's gift, you got nothing, and you're expected to do something impressive. How about One Bath and Closets? New bathroom be good? You could bring David Duvall and his team in there, start with a free consultation. They'll tell you what they can do to customize your bathroom to your exact needs. Not a great time to move right now. Doesn't mean you can't improve your living situation. Maybe it's a full-scale renovation. One Bath and Closets can do a full-scale renovation. They're a licensed contractor. It's one call. They handle everything. Maybe you just need a tub-to-shower conversion. You can rip out that bathtub, put in a gorgeous walk-in glass shower. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. You can see all the great deals, all the great work that they have done. The testimonials are there as well. If it's a closet and you just got too much stuff, just cluttered, can't find things in the morning, let David Duvall and his crew come in there and customize a closet for you. Whether it's tie racks, shelves, cubbies, baskets, mirrors. They can do it all, and they're not going to charge you for any of the labor, for the rip-out or the installation if you tell them that Hunt Palmer sent you from 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Go to the website, onebathandclosets.com. Again, it's One Bath and Closets at onebathandclosets.com.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls, Bands, and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus 2-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walker.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal.
Musso, join us for Monday's AFR presented by Relief Windows. We're recapping Super Bowl 57, kicking off game week for LSU baseball. It's Monday's AFR 3 to 6, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Be a little chilly on Friday evening at the box, but I don't think that's going to hamper attendance very much. This place is about to come undone at the seams for baseball season, cranking up here in 4 days. Leah Vann covers baseball team for The Advocate. Leah, did you enjoy your last free weekend over the weekend?
Yeah, I guess you could say that.
It's about to be quite busy in your world over the next 14-plus weeks. Does this feel – I know you were brand new to the town, to the paper, to the beat last year, but does it feel a little bit different for you personally entering season number 2 on the beat?
Drastically, yes. I will say I felt like a fish out of water when I started last season. But yeah, it's nice because obviously I've covered, 60-plus games of this team. I've been through an entire fall again. It's my second fall. And then, another spring of preseason. So it's nice to have, relationships with not only the players, but their parents. And even the new coaching staff has been pretty easy to get along with. And, everybody, I feel like I have a lot more knowledge going into this season.
I've been in this town now for, 17 years. I can't quite recall a season with this much anticipation. When you talk to the players, when you talk to the coaching staff, do you sense that in your interviews with them that they feel like the anticipation level is as high as it's been?
I think they're trying to really, level it, right? We're going to get that lip service of, we're working hard every day, blah, blah, blah. We're not thinking about that. But I also think all the players have acknowledged that, I've never been surrounded by this much talent before. And I think that's been kind of the narrative of looking more at themselves rather than just them and how they compare to the rest of the nation. That's been a huge narrative this preseason.
I know that y'all have got a huge season preview issue coming out that you've been putting a lot of work into. And I know one of those pieces is going to be on Dylan Cruz, and you obviously went to Florida and kind of got some background on him. Anything that you can kind of tease us with as far as something you may have learned about Dylan's upbringing, background, habits, anything as he comes in for his last year here in Baton Rouge?
Yeah, I think what was most surprising to me was the way that he started off his training. He comes from a very old school background of baseball training, which is not something you really much anticipate in this day and age with all this technology we have to train kids at even the youngest levels. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised to learn a lot about his background, which started in kind of a really old fashioned way of training. And that's kind of what has made him such an elite hitter. And so I think it's going to maybe make people think, maybe should I be putting my kids in these labs so early, or do they just need to kind of hit tires with weighted bats.
Whatever he's done has worked. He is as good a player as I've ever seen at LSU. One of the things that we talked about before you came on was some of the things that some of the players are doing in this NIL era. And I think there's a big portion of college fans who see this NIL, they think the worst. They assume that it's just a recruiting thing, kids getting a bunch of money, and it's just kind of old man yells at cloud. However, and some of it is that, but I think there's another factor that is really, really good, and you've uncovered a little bit of that with this LSU baseball team, right?
Yeah, and I think I think the big narrative with, among other baseball writers I've talked to in the SEC is like, oh, LSU bought its team. And it's like, well, okay, welcome to NIL, but also at the same time, that's not true. Every state has different laws when it comes to NIL, and we all know that some teams can advertise it more openly than others. Louisiana's laws are pretty loose on that, but also I think it has been really endearing to see Paul Skeens donate his money to Folds of Honor, which of course provides scholarship money for education for kids whose parents may have been injured in active duty, or spouses, or anybody in relation to people whose lives are lost or have lost a lot in their lives in sacrificing their lives to the country. And then you've also got Thatcher Hurd giving to the LSU food bank or food pantry, and then Tommy White has also donated a portion of his NIL earnings to Empower 225, which is a local charity that also helps, or nonprofit that helps provide, some guidance and mentorship for kids in the area to get a better education. So I think what's really stood out to me is that there's a lot of thought put into all these NIL contributions. They're choosing either very local and specific charities, or ones that are very close to their heart, like Paul Skeens, who obviously came from the Air Force Academy. He even asked his whole coach what his thoughts were on where he should also donate his money. So I felt like it's been very personal and very interesting to give us a picture of who these guys are this preseason, to see, what they're all about based on where they're donating their money.
Chatting with Leah Vann, LSU baseball beat reporter for The Advocate. Tigers open the season coming up on Friday night at the Box. I think when people think about this team, the names that come to the forefront are the ones that we've talked about. It's Cruz, and it's Skeens, and it's Hurd, and it's Tommy White. And one of the guys that I don't think gets brought up very often is Jordan Thompson. We learned that he had an operation before the season last year. Everyone's aware that his defensive play suffered, likely in part because of that early in the season. You were with him weekly and had a chance to speak with him and talk to him before this year. And I'm fascinated at kind of the stories that we hear about his toughness, his leadership ability, because he's not a guy that comes up all that often, but he's one of the more important members of this team, is what it looks like from the outside, no?
Yeah, and I think people really look to him. I mean, obviously, if you're a shortstop, that's a huge position in the infield in the first place. But it is very clear, and it's nice that he's able to kind of be open more about it this year and talk about, okay, yeah, I had to make this sacrifice, but I didn't want to openly be like, yeah, I'm injured, here's my excuse, and I think that says a lot about him. And I think, you've got Gavin Guidry, who's kind of up behind him as a true freshman, and you see them kind of interacting in these scrimmages and talking to each other. And you see also how Jordan really commands the infield this year, especially with these newcomers like Ben Nepult and Tommy White. You can kind of see a lot of gelling there. So I think his leadership is really important. He also has tremendous work ethic. People told me multiple times last year about how hard he works. And Jordan is also one of my favorite interviews. He's always been very honest about his own play and also in how much he really wants to improve. And last year, and I know it was very tough for him. So I've always been a Team Jordan Thompson myself.
Have you noticed any difference in Jay in your talks with him this year as opposed to last year when he was new and realized that there were some significant holes on his roster?
Again, you cut out.
Yeah, sure. Have you noticed any difference in Jay Johnson this year in talking to him preseason? Last year he was new to the job. He knew he had some holes on his roster as opposed to this team that's unanimous number one in the country. Any difference in his demeanor or the things that you've picked up from interviews with him?
Yeah, I think he's definitely been more comfortable. He's been more open. And I think while he's allowing guys to compete at certain positions, he will still tell you with confidence, who he sees leading the pack. So, for example, you got second base Ben Nicole and Jack Merrifield have really come up a lot in conversation. And then, we asked him about the outfield. He's like, we've got a lot of options, but defensively, the strongest is going to be obviously Cruz, and then Paxton Kling and Josh Stevenson. That's who is leading the pack defensively right now. So something like that, where as opposed to last year, he would have been like, I don't know, we're kind of letting them compete, and we're going to see what happens kind of thing. And then, obviously he named a Friday night starter this year, which, okay, yeah, Paul Skeens was the transfer who was brought in to be the Friday night starter, but that's still a step further than where we were last year. So, yeah, he's been a lot easier to interact with. Not that he was hard to interact with, but, he was just a little closed off last year.
Leah, we really appreciate the time. We'll see you out at the box this weekend.
All right, sounds good. Bye.
Leah Vann, beat reporter for the LSU Baseball Tigers for The Advocate. Appreciate her to come on. I enjoy talking with people that cover the team day to day, especially baseball, because I've worked that beat, and it is the best in terms of access and interviews. Football is very regimented. You might get 3 guys on Monday and 2 guys on Tuesday, and then that's it. Shut it down until the game. Basketball, kind of the same way. The schedule's fluid, and you see a couple guys here and there. Plus, you're only talking to like 3 or 4 guys on the basketball team more often than not, because it's kind of the forefront. Baseball, you got 10 pitchers to talk to. You got 10, 12 position players to talk to, and basically the interview session is, hey, come on out right before practice, grab whoever you need, and then we'll get to work. And so you can just go up and talk to whoever you may need to, and because it's such a long season, you're out there 3 or 4 days a week, you develop kind of some relationships, and you get maybe a little bit more than you would covering the basketball team or the football team. And I can't do that here. I can give you the box score. I can give you the highlights. I can tell you what I think about coaching decisions or plays made in the field, all that kind of stuff. But I'm not in the weeds 3, 4, 5 times a week with these players, talking with them. And obviously Leah and Glenn West, who we'll have on tomorrow, some of those guys are. So I think it's just it's an interesting thing. And I know that this town is on fire right now for baseball. I can't wait to read the Advocate's season preview that they'll put out later this week. And there's a huge feature on Dylan Cruz. They got a lot of stuff on NIL. They'll be covering it wall to wall. And one of the things that Leah talked to me about before we did the interview that she mentioned there is some of the great things that some of the players are doing with their NIL dollars. You've got Tommy White making a difference with his NIL dollars. You got Paul Skeens with Vault of Honors. You've got Thatcher Hurd with food banks. You've got a lot of guys doing some really, really good things. You pair that with Dylan Cruz, who spent a ton of time out at the Miracle League over his 2 years here in Baton Rouge. There's just a lot of great guys doing great things. And by the way, they're pretty good at baseball too, and they'll get things cranked up coming up this Friday at 6:30 against Western Michigan. I will be there. As they say, they could not keep me out of there with a SWAT team. I cannot wait to go in there and see the baseball squad. And we'll be talking a lot of baseball here over the next few days and the upcoming months. Excited that we've locked in Chris Demouy. He's going to join us every Wednesday moving forward during the baseball season. Former Tiger, host of the 60 Feet 6 Inches LSU baseball podcast. We'll have him on every single Wednesday. Very much looking forward to chatting with Demouy, who was out there at the scrimmages this weekend. So we'll chat with him coming up on Wednesday. When we come back, a little more baseball. How's that? It's Hunting Hill.
This is on Palmer. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting with a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman.
Rock in a hard place,
with Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of Walk.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
All right, let's say ah.
Where'd my spotlight go?
Super weird, but we can take care of it.
Get in and get better at Patient Plus.
Start your day with news and newsmakers. Start your day with traffic, weather, and local stories that are important to you. Kickstart your day every day. Mornings with Brian Haldane from 6 to 9 a.m. Weekdays on Talk 107.3.
For the Monday edition of Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. from Walk-Ons, the original Walk-Ons on Burbank, recapping a Super Bowl and looking forward to opening weekend for LSU baseball. It's Game Time, 6 to 8 p.m. Monday on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, y'all ready to have a little bit of fun here? It's a favorite thing to do is to overreact to things and be skeptical and form opinions based on small nuggets of information we may draw. That's what makes this so fun, isn't it? You know, with football, they kick you out of practice and they do it all behind closed doors. Basketball, nobody's in there in practice behind closed doors. Baseball, anybody can just walk in and see whatever you want. Okay, so here's what we see. Yesterday at the scrimmage, the final kind of dress rehearsal before they crank things up on Friday night, I'll tell you what the lineup was, the two lineups, and I think one very clearly shows you a first team versus a second team. So for what looks to be the first team, any team that Cruz, Morgan, and White are on, I tend to lean to that as the first team. You had Thatcher Hurd on the mound. You had Brady Neal at catcher, Trey Morgan at first, Ben DePolt at second, Jordan Thompson at short, Tommy White at third, Paxton Kling in left, Dylan Cruz in center, Braden Jobert in right, and Cade Beloso DHing. Now, if I know one thing about this team, I know that we're going to see a ton of players in a ton of different lineups. You're going to see different starting players. You're going to see pinch hitters. You're going to see situational replacements. Things get out of hand in a blowout. You may see wholesale substitutions. If it's a tight game late, you may see defensive substitutions. You're going to see a ton of players on this team. There's not a 9 that's going to start on the first game of the season and when they play their last one, have the same group out there. My favorite example of this ever, I do it every year, so if you were listening around this time last year, you heard the example. But it doesn't become any less funny or apt. You, listener, who paid attention to the 2009 national champion LSU Tigers. You had Gibbs and Ochinko. You had Hanover and Nola and LeMahieu. You had Matuk and Landry, Mitchell, Schimpf, Renato, Coleman, Matty Ott, Paul Bertocini, Nolan Kane. Like, you know the roster from that team. You remember the 09 Tigers. If I asked you who the designated hitter was on opening night for that team, you may not know. You may know. Follow the team. It's a good little trivia nugget. Who was the DH? No, wasn't Tyler Hanover. Wasn't Derek Helenihi. Wasn't Austin Nola or Mikey Matuk. Wasn't Leon Landry. Wasn't Sean Ochinko. The DH on opening night for the 2009 LSU Tigers was Chad Jones. How's that? Then he had to go to spring football. By the time he came back, LSU was a runaway freight train, number one team in the country. Matuk had asserted himself. He became the center fielder, and there wasn't room in the lineup. And sent him down and said, "Hey, Coach, I can pitch a little bit. Well, just go. What do you got? Go down there. See what you can do." Terry Rooney, go, Coach. What do you got? Oh, he can pitch, and he pitched. But opening night, he was the DH. So the opening night lineup is of no consequence to what the team will actually look like come May and June. But I think it's reasonable to suggest that the team that they put out there together, especially defensively, on Sunday would bear some resemblance to a team we may see in a lineup we may see this weekend. I believe you will see 2 catchers, if not 3, but probably 2 catchers start this weekend. I think you'll see at least 2 second basemen start this weekend. I think you'll see at least 2 designated hitters start this weekend. I think you'll see different outfield combinations this weekend. I can't tell you one single thing about Western Michigan's pitching staff that would suggest that I could give you, I don't know if they're starting 3 soft tossing lefties. I don't know if they've got 1 sidearm and right-hander. I don't know if they've got, 3 right-handers that all throw 87 miles an hour. That's probably the most likely scenario, but I have no idea. That would help if I knew. But I think it's reasonable to suggest that Neal at catcher, Trey Morgan at first, Ben DePolt at second, Jordan Thompson at short, Tommy White at third, Paxton Kling in left, Cruz in center, Joe Bear in right, and Beloso at DH may have something to it. So you look at that lineup, and I said this in the first hour. If you're looking for a breakdown of this team, you're craving baseball content, you've got to have it. You need it. You want it. We got 4 days left. I need LSU baseball stuff. Go to the Watch 1045 ESPN YouTube channel, driven by Bayou Ford. Musso and I last Thursday gave you an hour. Straight hour, talking nothing but baseball. And you can find it there. Also, if you're not a great YouTube surfer, but you may be more comfortable with Twitter, you can go to my Twitter. It's pinned to the top. It's 57 minutes, straight baseball meat sandwich. I said this on there, and I'm holding to it. I think DePolt is the leader in the clubhouse at second. I think Dugas is going to play, and I certainly think Merrifield is going to play a lot. But DePolt's left-handed. You're going to see a ton of right-handed pitchers. They like him, and I think he's going to play a lot at second base. I think Braden Jobert has made a real impact over the last 3 weeks, and I think he is in good shape out in the outfield to start a lot. Maybe not against tough lefties. You do have some right-handed bats you can get out there, but I think Jobert has kind of asserted himself, and that's a guy that was a lot of DH last year. His defense is not great in the outfield, but there's so much pop in the bat, and he's swinging it really well right now. I think he's kind of pushed forward as a potential outfielder. It surprised me a little bit to see Paxton Kling in left and Jobert in right. I would think the opposite. Kling's got Matuk-like tools. That's high praise for the SEC Player of the Year and a first-round draft pick. But Kling is that way. He's tall. He can run. He's got a good arm. He's got power. Like, he's got the whole package. So it surprised me to see Jobert in right and Kling in left. But I think there's a real chance that those two guys are out there. And then the catcher spot is one we've talked about for a ton. And Neal hit another home run over the weekend. I think maybe two, actually, but certainly one. He continues to show a little bit of power in that bat. And, again, I don't think it's reasonable to heap massive amount of expectation on Brady Neal offensively, but he slides in perfectly on this team, hitting 6, 7, 8 in the lineup, where you may see some fastballs, and I think he can contribute offensively, and he's a pretty good defender as well. Threw a guy out stealing yesterday, which was an impressive catch and throw. So that's your first team, and I think that's a reasonable expectation for this weekend. That leaves the second team with Milazzo catching, Jared Jones at first, Dugas at second, Guidry playing shortstop, Jack Merrifield over at third, Pearson in left. And you hear, you're like, where's Pearson? Where's Pearson? He's struggling right now. I mean, it's not like reportedly you could go out there and watch scrimmages. He's not swinging the bat great. But I will tell you this. Before practice started in January, I was chatting with somebody in the baseball department, and the word they used when talking about Pearson is trust. The staff trusts Pearson to go out there and give him a good at-bat. Yeah, he struggled in the summer. Yeah, he struggled in the fall. Yep, he's not swinging the bat great in early season practices. But when the lights come on, we think it'll work. And if it doesn't, we've got other options. We got Joe Barron. We got Kling. We got Stevenson. We got Dugas can play out in the outfield. And they got guys that can play in the outfield if there's a struggle. But right now, he's going to play this weekend. He may not start the first game. He may. But he's going to play. Stevenson in center, Mick Paul out in right, Ethan Frey at DH, Seb Ruddle, Hayden Travinsky were swinging the bat as well. But again, I can go through this exercise of putting a lineup together. The point being, I don't know what hand Western Michigan's pitcher is going to throw with on Friday, and that matters a lot to Jay. And I think that you're going to see a different lineup on Saturday and a different lineup on Sunday. They're going to shuffle this thing every which way over the first 4 weeks of this thing so they can get as many guys, as many looks as they can, so they know when those first 3 weekends of SEC play, they're firing on all cylinders. Because if you're not aware, their first 3 SEC weekends are brutal. They're at Texas A&M, who was an Omaha team last year. They got Arkansas at home, who's going to be very good again. And then they got Tennessee coming in week 3. That's 9 games that are going to be massive, and they're going to want to have every stone turned, every leaf turned to understand what they need to put out there in those first 3 weekends of SEC play. Sure, you want to do a great job against Western Michigan. Sure, you want to go to Round Rock, have a successful go at it. They'll do everything they can to win games, promise. But in the course of winning these games, which they're going to win a lot of, and they're going to win a lot of them by a lot, they're going to get a lot of guys' looks. So you're going to see matchups lefty-righty. You're going to see guys get a day off here and there. They want to see as much of this depth as they can, and that's what you're going to look at. So I'll give you some more thoughts on the lineup and some of the things that I'm looking for this weekend as the week progresses. We'll talk some baseball with Glenn West tomorrow. We'll talk baseball with Demui on Wednesday, and we'll certainly be locked and loaded on Friday. I wanted to kind of give you a look at what the last weekend of scrimmages where they were playing the national anthem and having the guys wear uniforms and announcing the guys every at bat and playing the walkout music. All that stuff was going on over the weekend, and there was certainly a lot to see. So I'm excited to get out to the box coming up this weekend. We got one more segment left. We got to get our Citizens Bank poll question of the day results, which my Valentine's future lays in the balance with you degenerates in your voting on that. And we'll get some take it or leave it as well to get on down the road. It's the Hunt Palmer Show.
This is Hunt Palmer. Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge. Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside off the bench, anytime. Hunt Palmer. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. I don't know anyone here. Everything keeps changing. Why is this happening to me? I'm sure glad you're here.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Saturday, February 25th, 7 p.m. The Bulls Bands and Barrels Tour at the Lamar Dixon Expo Center. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet. Edge of your seat excitement with bull riding, barrel racing, ultimate bullfighting. With a live performance by Bailey Zimmerman. With Timothy Wayne, plus two-time PBR world champion Chris Shivers, and Brinson James, the entertainer. Tickets and information at bullsbandsandbarrels.com. Saturday, February 25th, Lamar Dixon Expo Center at 7 p.m. Presented by Jerry Lane Chevrolet, the #1 Chevrolet dealer in Louisiana.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Charles Hannigrove, join us for the Tuesday edition of Handy Time. Former LSU baseball assistant Dan Canaveri is with us as we're just a few days away from the season opener, and Dwayne Colucci recaps the Super Bowl from Las Vegas. Handy Time, noon weekdays, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
You're listening to Hunt Palmer on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
All right, Taylor Sharp, take it or leave it time. Let's cook.
Yeah, let's make it happen. Streaking at the Waste Management Phoenix Open, take it or leave it. Starting strong today.
Look, I got to leave this. If you didn't see this because you're locked in on football and basketball over the weekend and you don't care about golf, you know the Waste Management Phoenix Open is a complete drunken party. And one guy in jorts and no shirt and a mullet ran out of the crowd, ran onto the green, started dancing on the pin like a stripper pole. Then security came after him, so he ran out of that hole, went down 17, which has a pond next to the green. He did a belly flop into the pond. Then Waste Management has these big WM letters that they have fixed into the pond. It's like an advertising thing, and he went and stood on those and was raising his hands up. The cops weren't going to go jump in the pond, so he was free until he decided to come out, and then they arrested him and took him to jail, and his mugshot was hilarious. I don't derive any joy from going to jail and having a mugshot taken, and I also don't really love, trespassing and making an idiot out of yourself. But if that guy had a good time and enjoyed the publicity, I'm thrilled for him. I'm going to leave it, though.
I'm going to take it. Anything to make golf more exciting,
Okay.
I'm all for.
Take it easy.
Major League Baseball has made the runner on second base and extra innings rule now permanent. Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I am kind of a traditionalist in the baseball sense. I like a lot of the old school things. I don't love the 3-2 true outcomes that they got. I don't think that not being able to, whatever. I don't need to get into all that. But this is fine. If it's the rules, it's the rules. It forces you to manufacture a run, make it happen offensively. You don't play as many 20-inning games that wreck your bullpen for an entire week, so you got to call the whole AAA team up. I'm okay with it. I think some people are just absolutely against it 100%. I'm not. If that's the rule, that's the way you're going to play it, I'm fine with it.
Dan Orlovsky, talking about working hard, he called the Super Bowl last night, and then he was on set for Get Up at 8 a.m. after a red-eye flight. Take it or leave it.
I got to leave this. Look, apparently, and I can't confirm this, but Twitter says he was on a red-eye commercial flight. How many ESPN employees were at the Super Bowl? How much money does ESPN have? I need a private flight for that.
They could get them all one flight.
Just get on a private flight that can, and it's a little bit more comfortable, and get them back. Fowler and Herbstreit are on one every single Saturday. So these guys, Orlovsky does not need to be flying commercial all through the night to get there for Get Up at 8 o'clock in the morning. I got to have a PJ if I'm ESPN there. Poor form by then.
The Kansas City Chiefs are now a dynasty. Take it or leave it.
I'll leave it right now. I need one more. I got a great nucleus, a great coach, great quarterback, and it's definitely been a really, really good run for them. I think one more would cinch it. If one more in the next 3 or 4 years, I would say that would count.
Mama Kelsey's jacket last night. Take it or leave it.
I'll take this. That's a tough spot. That's a tough spot for sure. She had the jacket. It had been pre-made for her. She had half Travis, half Jason. I thought it looked pretty good. She was enjoying a couple cold beers up there in the commissioner's suite. Saw her down on the field after the game, gave Jason a big hug. He was obviously pretty bummed out, and Travis was going nuts, acting a fool. I thought Mama Kelsey's jacket was excellent last night. That's a big night for their family, obviously. It was going to end. That's one of those deals where it's a weird situation, but you know the end. You know one's going to win and one's going to lose. It's not going to blindside you. It's the way it's going to go. And I thought that her jacket was cool.
All right, Hunt, we've done a lot of take it or leave it. This one here might be the most important. I would say maybe the fate of the entire human race lies on your answer.
Okay.
The U.S. government is shooting down alien spacecrafts. Take it or leave it.
Look, here's the deal. I'm going to leave it. I think that they're probably not alien spacecrafts. If they are, and we have aliens that are coming to check some things out, if any of them can pitch for the Cubs and will take the league minimum from the Ricketts, we need to look into this. Okay? Make use for yourself, all right? The Cubs are short a couple of pitchers. Surely these aliens can throw really hard. Let's look into that. I can't. It's one of those things. Like, I can't spend my time concerning myself whether or not we got aliens out here. I can't. I don't have that much brain power. I'm not going to use it on alien stuff. If they're real, come on in, I guess. If it's a bad deal, we'll try to figure it out. They got a military for it. If they're not real, then I'll just carry on. But I can't. Are you concerned with the alien situation? Do we need to worry about this?
No, I mean, Will Smith's still around. We could just call him up.
He saves the world a lot.
Yeah, he did a great job on Independence Day. So
well, he saves the world in every movie. Men in Black, Independence
he was in Men
Day,
in Black too. There
Wild
you go.
Wild West, I Am Legend, Hancock. He saves the world every time.
It's a good point.
Yeah,
he's an alien guy.
Look, I got a baseball game coming up at 6:30 on Friday. That's where my focus is going to be, and it's probably going to be there even if they tell me there are aliens that are coming in, because I just don't really care about that. It's just not something that I'm going to spend a lot of time dealing with. But look, I'm glad we got a military that's taking care of stuff that I don't have to worry about. Get after it, boys. But I'd like to know what it is. Maybe. That's it for Hunt Palmer Show here on a Monday. Hope your week is off to a good start. I know some people probably started a little slow this morning after maybe a beverage or two too many and some reasonably unhealthy food yesterday. But we're off and moving in another week, and we're working towards the opener of baseball season on Friday. We're going to talk a ton of baseball over the next few days. Tomorrow's show, we'll have Glenn West on from Go247, talk some baseball with him. He texted me after the basketball game on Saturday and said, can we please talk about baseball on Tuesday instead of basketball? I said, well, we'll probably do both, but I appreciate where your heart is. Sharif Ishaq will talk some Pels with us. Bad news on Zion today. Re-aggravated that hamstring or groin or whatever it is. He's not feeling great. It's going to be some time before he comes back. We'll talk to Sharif about that tomorrow. Fired up to have Chris Demouy every Wednesday. We'll have him coming up later on this week, and we are counting down the minutes until baseball season opens up on Friday. I've talked about this a couple times, but I'll do it one more time. For those of you who just checked in, if you're looking for a baseball season preview, looking for baseball content, you want it, we got it for you at the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Musso and I did an hour straight of baseball talk. It is up there on the channel, pinned to the top of my Twitter profile if you want to look for it there. We went an hour on the roster, so you can check that out. Same thing we did last year, but had some fun with it this year as well. Missed any of today's show, you can catch it on demand, 1045ESPN.com's on-demand tab. You can catch it on Apple Podcasts, catch it on Spotify, and, of course, as I just mentioned, on YouTube. Open the show talking Super Bowl for the first 30 minutes, some LSU A&M basketball reaction, and then some women's basketball reaction, all in hour number 1. SEC hoops in hour number 2. Leah Vann jumped on, doing a great job covering the baseball team for The Advocate, and we talked with her about some of the stuff that they've got coming up this week for their preview edition of this baseball team. And I talked a little baseball at 2:30 before we played some Take It or Leave It. That'll do it for us here. Jimmy Ott's Game Time coming to you 6 to 8. Hopefully Jimmy won some money yesterday. Hopefully Matt won some money yesterday. You'll find out. He's coming up next on After Further Review from 3 to 6. We'll see you tomorrow. Same time, same place. It's 1 to 3 on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.